Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Okay. Whoa. Alex showing up, and he's gone. And he's gone. All right. Anybody else, if you want to jump up on stage, more than welcome. Plenty of room up here. Digital room. Give it a few minutes and let folks pile in. I know it's like a new, I tried to put it where it was sort of obvious to see, but I know it's new. So if we need to move it to make it easier, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll get kicked off here in like a minute. Cool. Also, I popped up in the chat, so I know that for some folks it's like 3 p.m. Other folks it's like midnight. So you feel free to chat if that's easier for you. Also, if you hear any noise, I have a co-host today. It's my dog. He's enjoying a cookie right now, but hopefully he'll not get too excited. Cool. And I'm gonna try and play the glow song. I don't know if I can do that, if it'll actually play my music or not. Let's see. I have no idea how this popped up. I grabbed my pants. Okay, well, you've just told everyone that, so congrats. There's some feesh pants in the swag shop, so feel free. And cool. Maybe we'll play the glow song a little bit later. I don't want to tip anything off, but yeah. Okay, cool. I think it's about time we can get started here. So again, I think there's like a hand raising thing, like icon that you can click if you want to jump up. Feel free. If not, no worries. I think we are going to try and record this just in case we talk about something that's interesting or exciting. But yeah, cool. Hope everyone had a great day. My day has been pretty chaotic. But yeah, there's a fish icon. Sorry, I'm reading the chat as I'm chatting. Today, there was a little bit of weirdness. I think I should probably start there unless anyone... Does anyone have any questions before I start? Just want to make sure. No. Oh, someone's typing. We'll see. Okay, well, while people are typing. No questions. Okay, cool, we'll take that. No questions. Okay, perfect. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. Been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on a lot of things, kind of like subtly upgrading stuff to get ready for a lot of changes that will be kind of like diving into in the near future. One of the things that I had on my list to do that I took care of kind of this morning was I went in to turn off like the St. Patrick's Day stuff, like drain the tanks of beer, what have you. And so when that happened, I noticed something strange. It seems, and again, I'm still kind of putting together everything, but it seems like the portal technology that we lost last year from kind of like, time travel type things, looks like portals are back now. And I think some of the fish must have gotten kind of a little tipsy and stumbled into a portal. And I know like the tanks are all like over the place with different designs and whatnot, but it seems like they went somewhere else. And I don't know what that means. Like I couldn't kind of like try, I didn't see where they went. It was almost like they like teleported and didn't end up in a different tank. They ended up somewhere else. And then when they teleported back, it looks like about 500 fish have some kind of glowing effect on them. And they're all kind of like the similar glow. And so that's strange. And so I reached out to the scientist folks that had helped us, and they're like, yeah, we're busy. And they kept saying like, we can't tell you what we're working on. And I was like, okay, I didn't really ask. And they're like, well, good, don't ask. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to ask. That's weird. And so what they said is they're going to send us some field equipment. And I don't know what that means. But I said, okay, cool, we'll set that up, I guess, when that comes. And I was like, sweet. And so these fish, it seems like they're not like in trouble. It doesn't seem like they're being harmed or anything like that. But I don't know what else is going to happen with this glow stuff. So we probably should do something about it. And so I think that that kind of leads us into, I guess, our next event. So welcome to the radiant reversal. This is an event for Feeshes where we will all participate together, or you can try and do it your own, but I think it's going to help if we collaborate. And so if you go to feeshes.com/glow, you'll see the new event page. Now, the first feesh that we found that was glowing, patient 0, if you will, his name is Geo. He's a good fish, but patient 0, Geo, I guess that rhymes. I didn't plan that, but that's what his name was. Can I screen share on this? Because that would be dope. Let me see if I can screen share without sharing too many things. Come on, screen. Google Chrome. It wants to share so many things. Okay, we won't do that. Anyway, but yeah, so if you go to feeshes.com/glow, I'll be making an announcement later about it, but if you go to that website, you will see the huge event. And in there, we've got Geo in kind of a container. And yeah, so let's talk about what the event actually is. You'll see a new section of the site, which is called the lab. The lab is kind of a lot of different things all spread out. The lab itself is where we can kind of monitor Geo, and as we continue to get equipment, maybe some more things will appear there. But there's other areas within the lab that you can kind of experiment, and one is the dispenser. And so the dispenser is where we can kind of collectively gather ingredients, and every single day you'll be able to go into your tank using a colorizer that's been set up to every single tank. And when I say go check out the Glow page, you can also just go check out your tank, because this event will take us to our tanks as well. There's been some tubing that has been installed into everyone's tank right now, and those tubes have controls, and every single tank has their own set of controls. And so you can go into the colorizer from your menu, and you can then adjust, hey, I want to make the colorizer have this color or this color, and there's 3 different colors. There's blue, red, and yellow. You'll be able to adjust those once everything is kind of flipped on. If it doesn't work yet, there's another file that has to be switched on, so sorry if that doesn't work just yet. But yeah, the colorizer will allow you to adjust the colors in your tank, and every single day when you've got a color, so say blue is the color that you want to go for, if you just crank your blue up and it's higher than all the other ones, then you'll be able to set that. And then if everyone collectively's color is averaged out to be blue, then that's the color that will be up for grabs in the dispenser. And then you can fill your flasks. Everyone has 4 flasks, and you can fill as many flasks as you'd like with that color, or you can just do 1 if you'd like, up to you. And then the next day we'll repeat that and hopefully kind of continue to get different colors. And if you have 4 flasks that you think might be the combination, you can then take those to the mixer, which is another area of the lab, and you can add your flasks there, mix them up, and see what happens. Now, if we're successful, you might get some kind of potion that's like a concoction that we'll make that we can then apply to Geo, or maybe it's something you can keep to yourself, who knows. Or you might get a flask of water. If you get water, that's fine. It's cool. Water is good. You can drink it. But you can keep going and refill, again, off those daily colors to your flasks. I would recommend, because science is fun together, that maybe we set up a field camp here on the Feesh Cord, where we can all kind of collaborate. Maybe we all work together to pick a color that we want to root for. Or maybe we find some kind of clues based on some of the stuff that just happens throughout this event, where there's a certain color we all want to go for, or a certain combination that we think we might want to try, versus randomly trying other things. It'll be up to you. But yeah, science is fun, and hopefully we can find a cure for all these folks. And if we do, then I think that'll be great. But sometimes through trial and error, you might discover different things that result in different ways, and we'll see what those result in. So yeah, should be fun. But yeah, I get that might be a lot. But basically, your tanks, you can change the colors of those tubes through combinations. So if you turn up the blue and turn up the yellow, you'll see that it'll actually be green, because it's a mixture of those. So you can mix and match all those primary colors to turn into different colors. And yeah, so you'll be in control of your own tank, but then collectively, whatever the average color is from all the chemicals pumping into the dispenser, that's what you'll be able to fill up daily. And you can choose not to fill up, or you can fill up all your flasks. If you do fill up your flasks too many, you'll need to take your flasks to the mixer and mix them to kind of clear your flasks. But yeah, and then if you think you've got a combination that you want to try, give it a whirl in the mixer and see what happens. And yeah, we'll see what the results turn out to be. Beyond this, there's a bunch of other science stuff that the scientists kind of shipped my way. And so Thursday is probably when I'll do the cutoff, and then I'll start distributing all of those things. There's a tiny little sneak peek last night that was probably nothing. Let me see if I can post it from my phone one more time in the sneak peeks, just because the event is upon us. Sneak peeks okay? Or do we want to put it in this chat in here? I'll do sneak peeks. And then in the meantime, if anyone wants to jump up, feel free. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them out. The website, like pages for the event, should do an okay job of explaining things, but I'm happy to dive into more of this. But we'll see as the event goes on where we kind of end up from here. So yeah, cool. I think I've talked a lot, so I'm happy to pause for a moment, take a breath, and listen to some questions and answers. Oh, and I will say that these layouts for these pages are a little more ambitious than other ones. There's a lot of animation and craziness. And so if you're doing like stuff on a mobile device and something's funky, let me know and I'll fix it. I tried to test on a number of devices, but I'm sure there's always some phone that I just didn't test or looked like it was working fine, but maybe I should have spent a little bit extra time. So if something's seemingly more difficult than it should be, please let me know and we'll take a look at it. Don't see if there's any hands. I don't think there's any hands. I've neglected my fish far too much. Well, now's a chance. And I'll spill the beans on something that I've been experimenting on. AI with feesh. So we'll see what happens out of that. Can baby fish glow? Yeah. So apparently all of the fish that like went in, seemingly it was like random. And so some people might have one fish that is glowing right now that we'll have to tend to. Some might have 0 fish that are glowing. Some might have a whole tank, but megas were affected, minis were affected. And so we'll see what happens as this adventure continues. I mean, it would be crazy if somehow there was like a chemical that maybe not only cured the fish, but maybe there's another one that caused them to do something else. But we'll see. And yes, AI fish. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily. I've been dabbling with a bunch of different AI stuff, not just for Feeshes, but I do think that it opens the doorway for some features maybe that have been since sunsetted, maybe coming back in a new way, sort of deal. Lots of typing. I'm excited. Waiting for a corner. Say more about the AI aspect of this. Fine. And then if we have multiple tanks, can we choose different colors? Yeah, so that's interesting. So also from Feeshes, I've been really trying to put in some thought. Like you'll notice the flasks, for example, are not NFTs. I didn't want people like hoarding flasks to try and make like more chemicals than other people. And so another thing is like if you have, say, 50 tanks for whatever reason, all of them are linked to to you. And so if you adjust, like you cranked up the blue and in one of your tanks and you switch to the others, that's where it'll also be blue in theory. If you notice something different than that, let me know. And then I do think, like, if you're testing the colorizer right now, I don't think it's popping up just yet, but I can take a look. I know what happened. Anyway, yeah, so that'll be fixed in just a sec, I think. I have to turn one more thing on. I'm trying to talk and code. Look at me go, failing across the board. And then someone said something, tell me more about this AI stuff, right? So yeah, we can talk about that. Even though I don't really want to give away too much. but yeah, I'll talk about it. So this, how about I just talk in more general terms than specifically with Feesh? So for a while now, I've talked about like I see a lot of this kind of converging into some sort of kind of like game that would be more of like a role-playing game, but maybe not like is typical. Like I would be hiding. Wait, is the color yellow or orange in the tube? It's supposed to be yellow, but if there's like a red, it should be red, yellow, blue, I think. The colorizer should be working now. And then as you adjust your colors, it should update to where it'll say orange if you crank up the yellow and the red, even if it's just a tiny bit. So like if I'm at like 10% red and then 10% yellow and 0% blue, it will say orange. So like if you're like, what? I can't even see the color that it says orange. If it ends up where the two colors, like the two highest colors, are within a certain percentage that they could be mixed together to be another color, then it'll say like the mixture color. If you want it to be yellow, either go pure yellow and then drop your red and drop your blue, or drop them enough to where it says yellow, and then you'll be in the good for if you wanted yellow. Sorry, I'm trying to answer all the questions about the current event, but then also talk in general about AI and coding at the same time. The menu blocks the third color on MetaMask layer. Okay, cool. I will take a look at that. Sorry for that. I did see like the menu kind of sticking open when popping stuff open, so I'll look at that. Let me add that to the list real quick. Polarizer menu. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. I'll take a look at that. And different phones might be fine. Yeah. Okay. So cool. Hopefully there's a workaround for the meantime. If not, I will take a look at it as soon as possible. But yeah, so whether it's Feeshes or otherwise, and I think it goes for Feeshes. I think longer term there'll be a game, and I want to continue, like before I go develop some crazy game beyond the ones that are already kind of built. And when I say crazy game, I mean like where you pick a Feesh and like it has stats that you can kind of like level up, and then you can unlock like different things and find more treasure, or like it just would go like it'd be pretty ambitious. I still think that it's probably where this goes, to where it's like Feeshes the video game, and everybody can jump in and play, or jump in. When I say play, it doesn't mean like you have to jump in and say, oh, I'm going to jump in and fight, because that's what you could just jump in and hang out. You could jump in and like do all kinds of stuff, and because I don't want it to be just like fighting or whatever. And so this idea about like AI, thinking of it as almost like feeding AI into AI is interesting to me. And so the way that I would think of it is, because right now, if you've not used Open ChatGPT or anything, which you should, it's free to test it out. I strongly recommend that. But if you haven't tried it yet, yeah, it doesn't have any memory. Like it only can hold like context, like you would pretend like it's only got like a scratch sheet of paper's worth of things that it can keep in its head that it can respond to. And so as the conversation goes along, there's a point where like it stops remembering things that you talked about previously, because it just can't. It's not set to remember anything. So what I could do in a game, in theory, would be, hey, here's 50 points of interest that I would like you to basically hide imaginary things inside of, and not all of them need to have something or whatever. And then there'd be like a 3D map with these, like maybe it's a closet, a locker, a hole in the ground, like all these different places and things that you could go and like search and look for things or interact with. And then if you as a player walk up to that and try and inspect it, I would take that that like representation of like that locker, for example, feed that into ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, so-and-so is trying to look in this locker, and here's what you said before, if there was something in there or not. And then it would say, oh yeah, thanks. And then it would respond back, you walk up to a locker and look inside of it, and there is a fishing rod. And then now I would then notice that would be the item that you would get, and then I would attribute that. So I'm almost like the mental storage of the game and then the UI layer. But then ChatGPT is kind of like free-form rolling like the story pieces for the game. And then you could take that same concept and say there's like 10 non-playable characters, like a bartender or whatever. And you could walk up to the bartender, and in current games, it's, the bartender is there. Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say order a drink? Or do you want to say goodbye? and that's it. Like everything's still kind of on rails, if you will. I think when you could add like an AI thing, it's you walk up to the bartender, it's like the bartender's sitting there, what do you want to say? And then you would just type in, hey, your head looks stupid, or whatever kind of thing that you want to, because you could just type anything, and you would submit that. I would then kind of wrap whatever you say through a prompt that kind of explains to ChatGPT that it needs to be a bartender and respond as a bartender with some background story to like whatever the story is of the game. And then it would say, by the way, the character says your head is stupid. And the bartender might say whatever ChatGPT responds, and then I would hand that back to you as the player, and you would have like a real conversation, and it would respond as if it was a real person based on what you're saying. And so if you're a jerk to it, then you might get a jerk back. If you're nice to it, you might get, nice. Or if you say, tell me a joke, it'll tell you a joke in the theme of whatever the story is. So it kind of creates this more immersion to where, and I keep toying around with the idea of it's an infinite adventure game where you can go up to the bartender every single day and have a different conversation with that bartender. And AI is making, even just like the AI, if you will, that ChatGPT is empowers that through their API or application protocol layers. So sorry, there's a lot of tech jargon. I hope that was like understandable. But you could also see like how, we could build Feesh City that has a bunch of different feesh, and you could talk to all the feesh as a feesh and stuff like that. So I do think this is where like games and even metaverses are going to probably go. And so if I made like some kind of like metaverse hub outside of, like I know the aquarium, I'm dragging my feet not purposely in a way for that, because Facial keeps dropping different stuff that will make it even more fun. If I just dropped it, it would have just been like this like room that we all ran around and screamed at each other, which I still think could be fun. But with being able to like jump and move around a little bit more, controls with some of the new stuff that they've got, I think it's only going to be that much better. So it's still coming. It's still on the docket. I'm just trying to let their like stuff settle to where I don't build it and it needs to be upgraded constantly, because they keep pushing new things. So yeah, that's coming. But if I was going to like plant roots more formally somewhere, I really would like to build a place where, there's maybe these seemingly static things, but you could like walk up to them and talk and have a conversation. Or you ask it and then like, hey, what's the next clue for the riddle? And then you end up going on a scavenger hunt that every time could be different. And somehow maybe that gives you points, or maybe those points let you do other things that I'm trying very hard not to say. But yeah. That's it. I mean, if this is the answer, it looks like it's the same as if we have multiple tanks, yeah, basically if you have multiple tanks, they should all be linked to your wallet. And so when you're changing the colors, you're actually changing it at your wallet level. And so all of your tanks, in theory, if it's working right, there could be a bug. But if it's working right, then technically your tanks collectively only have one color. And then to make that even bigger for this event, us collectively need to kind of decide what we want to do. Because if I'm like, I want red, and then everyone else in the community that's participating in the event goes blue, sorry, we're probably going to get blue. Or if it's a half, like a 50% blue, 50% red collectively, then we're going to get purple kind of deal. And so we can try the tug of war where everyone just does their own thing, or we can kind of maybe try and focus and hope to outweigh the other people that may be randomly just picking things to get the ones that we want. Now, what colors do we want, and what ingredients do we want? That's, I guess there'll have to be some experimentation to see what that is, but we'll see. Hopefully that answers your question. Oh gosh, we're already talking about it in lore speculation. Perfect. Yeah, I think I will probably make a channel just for this event that we can kind of coordinate things to make it easier for those that want to kind of hope to sway the tug of war. But it'll be an interesting social experiment. Hey, Kyle, welcome. Sorry, just hi everyone, but just Kyle, I just joined. Cool. So yeah, so that's the event, and then I think I touched on the airdrops, just because I'm a glutton for punishment. There was an airdrop. How long is the event? Yeah, I want to see how it goes this week. So currently it is somewhat open in the air. They've built in some things that can kind of be turned on if we're too far away from finding the cure. That's some fourth wall breaking stuff. But yeah, we'll see. If we find the cure day one, then we'll see what happens. You cannot actually find it. I will say that for the mixer, I think you need at least 3 ingredients to have a hope of finding something, but probably 4 ingredients to try and find it. And I will say too that duplicate colors are fine, and the order in which you put stuff in the mixer should not matter, because yeah, the way that the mixer works. Yeah, that's that. So yeah, I hope that to try and hedge it around 10-ish days, but it may go a little bit longer if the adventure is fun. If we find it like day 4, someone cracks the code, so to speak, then there's a couple extra things that we can do, but then it'll probably wrap at 10 days. 10 days is like the sweet spot, I think, but it might go a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. Just we'll see. But yeah, the airdrops, there are like, I want to say there's like 6 things, but if you check sneak peeks, there's actually one item that I made a couple of variations of, and so there'll be the normal one, and then there'll be 2 secret rare variants. Not sure on the numbers of those, but just I think a couple people had been asking for something similar to that, and I had to bite my tongue. It's been coming for like a long time. This is the thing in the sneak peeks has been one that's been on the list since day 1. And a couple people have asked for it throughout the time, and having a scientific event just made sense for it to fall now. So yeah, and there'll be there's another, I put like emojis that kind of hinted at some of the things. But yeah, so it'll be 1 item per feesh, 2 if you've got a mega, and they're all somewhat sciencey, and some again, just as always, I try to give them all some interesting things, and just be careful, like if you think that you've got one that may not be as yeah, many feesh also get 2. Sorry, thank you for correcting me. Minis and megas each get 2 each. So, but yeah, there's one that I think will maybe not immediately be a fan favorite. That I don't know. Sometimes I plant things that will reveal themselves later. So, where did the name Geo? That was just the feesh that like was the first one that I think, just much like Sandra, all the feesh have names, and I think Geo was just the feesh's name, and he was the first one that I guess was tipsy enough to fall through. Like, I don't know if they like mentally turned on telepathy. Like, we thought that it was like devices that created the portals, but maybe it was the feesh all along. You have a feesh also named Geo. There's 10,000 feesh, and we have duplicate names. How crazy. Ugly duck of airdrops becomes the most popular people. I don't know for sure that'll be the case. I'm just saying that, like, I try and put thoughts into everything, and I think the lens in which I do all of the airdrops really is like, if I only had 1 feesh and this is the item that I got, would I be excited and happy with it? And I can't. You are not me, and so I can't say like, hey, I would have been thrilled. And you're like, it's a fucking rock. I get it, but I at least try and look things through those lenses, and just make sure that I would be pleased. So maybe I don't always hit the mark, but I do try and put lots of thought into things, and so, you know, I might do one thing now, and later it might turn into something else. So you just never know. But I'm also not trying to say like I don't care about the secondary, so I'm not trying to say like, hold everything, hoard all of the things, but just I'll be circling back here for a couple of things. One in particular I'll say right now is the television set NFT will probably be the first, if not, I think the first one to get a 3D treatment. Not saying like FOMO into one. Other items will also have. Actually, sorry, the TV will be the second one, but it's definitely getting it. It has a 3D treatment that I actually modeled, and then there's a couple other things that have been modeled by Pac-Man, our favorite person, who models all the stuff for me. That will be activated as well. And so if you're into spatial already, when you have those, if you have those accessories, you'll be able to, when the new UI drops, much like you can configure your feesh to have like your own PFP, the 3D ones, you'll be able to say like, to make this 3D or don't, or turn off the 3D. why would you want the 3D off is probably a question. It's because you're controlling also how OpenSea renders it. And so if yours is set to 3D, it won't show the normal 2D image. It will actually show like a 3D inside a little like 3D rendering thing, which is fine. But just if you're setting it to 3D, just know that. And so if you're not going to go and use it in spatial, you might want to leave it off. But if you want it to render the 2D form or the 3D form, that'll be up to you. So if an airdrop NFT has a 3D variant, you'll be able to go in and kind of modify that to be 3D. If you've got thousands of airdrops and that's going to be a pain in the ass, let me know and maybe I can automate something, or I'll give you like a default setting of like, if it's 3D-able, I'm sure that's a word, make them all 3D. Like if that's a feature we need because it's just too cumbersome to turn them on and off individually, like let me know and we'll figure that out. But my hope is to just try and give you more and more power of how your fees show up, how your airdrops show up, and how you choose to kind of get the most bang for your airdrop bucks. So that's that. Any other questions? I mean, I just dropped an event, and that's fun. And airdrops are on their way at the end of this week. Again, Thursday will be the cutoff. So if you were hanging on for like one extra feature or whatever, that's totally fine. If not, you're all set. Then just Thursday at midnight, I'll take the snapshot. Friday, they'll go out. I'm putting the finishing touches on a few of them tomorrow. So I see some typing. So I'm going to pause and take a sip real quick. Viper's join the chat. Requesting to speak. Sure, that's fine. Join the stage. It keeps popping up and I keep hitting yes. So if I've done, oh, there he is. Slammy, what is the important detail that you've missed? Sorry. And so 500, I guess backing up to the chat a little bit, sorry. 500 feesh got glowy powers. I don't know about powers, but 500 feesh are glowing. Yeah, the event is live now, so have fun. 500 are glowing, and we don't know why. It looks like the only thing that's not live right now is like the main website. We'll have like the event's going on now. Click here. So you guys have like I vocally told you the link, but the link's also in the navigation from Tanks. So feel free to jump into the lab. See poor Geo. And again, it doesn't look like they're in pain. It just looks like they're glowing. So I think we should probably try and at least find a way to stop them glowing, just to make sure that nothing spirals out of control. And then, I mean, the airdrop goes out Friday. Normally, airdrops and events drop together, but I just think it's time to go. I mean, it happened right today with the St. Patrick's Day stuff shutting off, so we're kind of in it, whether we want to be or not. And then Friday, though, like I said, the scientists have sent some airdrops for us, and so those will be going out Friday. And then you can decorate your tanks with all kinds of science stuff as we kick it into high gear and try and find a cure for glowiness. What's up, Viper?
Not much, Buck. How are you?
Doing fantastic now. Had a rough day.
I was just trying to wave, and then I ended up here, so.
Well, yeah, I think that's how Discord works. If you say hi, you get dragged up onto stage. So.
That's okay. I've been exposed to worse things in life than being up on stage with you.
Yeah, well, it keeps happening, so I guess we enjoy it. So we had a science. This one's a science event instead of taxes, so hopefully that's okay. And yeah, the glow dropped early. I'm not going to say that there's clues in glow, but glow did give away, if you listen to the lyrics, a lot of Bradley just. I kind of explained and walked through and showed them some crude sketches of what's been happening, and he just took that whole concept and just made it not only into like a catchy song. I don't know if you guys have listened to it much, but it gets stuck in my head, and I enjoy it. But yeah, took kind of the concept that's wild and crazy and turned it into something that is not only fun to listen to, but also like shares a lot about what we ended up doing for this event. So fun times. That will also be airdropped probably after the tank accessories. Just we took a poll and you guys said like, give me the NFTs. And so that will be also airdropped, but it is on streaming on, I think like 16 different platforms now. So feel free to listen to it. again, I don't care if you listen to it or not. But if I was in the business of pulling shenanigans, I would say turn your volume down and play it every single night, nonstop on a loop, because that hooray royalties. But I don't really care. Bradley's taken care of, and I don't care if we make money on it. What is the quest to the 1 of 1 airdrop? Oh, the 1 of 1 airdrop is going to one person, and I'm sorry, there's not it's not something that for everybody. But our dear friend, Mr. Fractal, has got a birthday coming up, so there's a variant of an airdrop that's coming his way. So that's that. But I will say your adventures and experiments with chemistry can turn into some things that could make something interesting occur. So don't feel like that it's just one person that's getting something. It's you all have the opportunity through the luxury of science to maybe affect your feesh in a certain way that might change them forever. But hopefully we can at least find a way to turn this glowiness off through science. You don't even know what the other airdrops are. I mean, I know that you do like a good lava lamp, so I've given you lava lamps like whoa. I had too much fun when I was like doing the coloring, because I had the code and everything like worked out for the lava lamps. And then it just turned out really nice, and I was like, I wonder what color I should make it. And so I just couldn't decide. And so I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll do 3, and then make it to where they show up in different sizes. And so there's kind of like a small, medium, large. And then when you put them together, I think it has a cool effect, especially with a new depth adjustability kind of thing to be able to put things in front of, behind. I can't wait to see the creativity, but it's not the only thing. So, and of course, Fractal, you do so much for us, and you have a birthday coming up that made me think of a certain thing. So hopefully you'll show it off when it comes to you. But it is a variant of something that others can have too. So everything at 50%. Yeah, I think if you put everything at 50%, I think it changes to a very unique color of gray. I would not recommend doing anything gray. The behind the fourth wall stuff, all the like mixtures that you can make, if you will, they're all randomized, and I did not pick them because I didn't want to have anything to do with that. When in doubt, randomize it out has been most of the project, because I don't want to sway something for like it's my birthday's initials, or like anything like that. I don't know why I put on that accent, but anyway, yeah, it's usually random. So the colors are very random for anything that you might be able to science. But yeah, who's to say? Clues? I'm sure there'll be some clues. We'll see. Yeah, so event, music, airdrops, craziness, 101 soon-to-be birthday celebrations. Anyone have any other questions? If not, I'll share just like a little bit of like behind the scenes kind of like roadmappy stuff, but the event will take priority for most of the next couple days, I'm sure.
So I'm going to try and decipher some Brock talk.
Sure. Good luck.
Right? How true that is. So you mentioned that it would be a terrible idea to just play that song on repeat because it's on umpteen different platforms. Is there a reason that would be a horrible idea as a whole?
I'm just telling you, like I have a distribution company that helps me put on 16 different things, and so I was just saying, like, if I was like trying to make money, I would say everyone, like, there's literally a band that was, I think it was genius, but they told all their fans to just, here's an album that we've made that is complete silence, minus like a couple subtle like sounds to just get away with it being different tracks. And they said, just play this while you're sleeping, and if you do it for this many days, through royalties, we will make this much money, and then we can go on tour. And so they use that to fundraise. I don't care about the money, and so listen to it or don't listen to it, it exists. But if I was being more malicious, I would say, play the shit out of it, because like every 1,000 plays, I think I get like $5 or something crazy. So I don't care about that. but that's what I was getting at.
Okay, cool. Like I will literally put it on play because
If you're playing it,
Normally-
if you're playing it unlimited, then it would technically there's a chance that it could give me money, but it doesn't. For this whole entire project, anybody that I've consulted with, if there was any kind of compensation, I just paid up front. And
okay, so the dude who made the song, you are
He's
pissed
paid.
off, and then any royalty on top of that would go into the Brock Fund, and then I think as holders
Sure.
we're pretty aware that the Brock Fund is really just our fund usually.
Yeah, where I can, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You've nothing but delivered back, so I think as a member of the community, I will press play, and I'm sure many others will too. That's a nice little tidbit. Thank you.
Of course, yeah. And then I will say there's at least 2 more songs that Bradley and I'll be doing together. And when I say doing together, like he's like, "What do you want it to be?" And then I'll give him like concepts or tell him about the event that it correlates. But he produces it. He does the lyrics. He'll like bounce them off of me. But again, some other behind the scenes. Whenever there's been an outside consultant or someone like even Brian Morris or whatever, my rule has been no changes. Like whatever you give, whatever you create, complete creative control. You could he could have delivered like an empty song. I would have been like, cool, hooray, thanks. I'm sure I'll get another one, but no changes. And even on this glow one, I think there's a little bit of at the end where there's like the la 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 sound where he's like, I did something really weird. Please don't make me change it, because I actually liked how it turned out, even though it's weird. And I was like, hey, no changes. Then I said that before I even listened to it. And I ended up, that was like my favorite part is like that coming off the bridge where like the la la la's and like the chorus kind of join together. So whether you like it or not is up for you to decide. But anyway, yeah, so at least 2 more songs probably coming from Bradley this year. And yeah. Next Bradley hit.
How do you know him, Brock?
I did not know him personally until the first song, and he ended up he's in a band called Emarosa, and my wife likes them. I've seen them live. And he took over for like the original singer, so like that's a kind of a situation too. But he's been in the band. I think they're coming up on 10 years or whatever, where he's been singing. They're not huge, but they are signed to like a bigger label and stuff. And he had posted like, "Hey, I'm doing, do you want me to help write a song for a loved one for Valentine's Day or whatever?" And I was like, oh, it would be funny if, and my wife is like, "You're gonna get me a song?" I'm like, no, not you, for Feesh. And then that won me a lot of points. If you've got a significant other, bait them that you're gonna do something super nice, and then selfishly do something for a ridiculous thing that you did. It is how you can win all the points with your significant others. Anyway, so she likes his voice, thinks everything's great, and so I reached out and I was like, hey. You can tap out whenever you want, but I've got a Feesh project, and I'm doing a Valentine's event, and I think it would be really great if there was like a love song for Feesh, and you can just say no. And he's like, and then I think he wanted me to get on a Zoom call to like prove that I wasn't a psychopath, maybe. And I don't know if the Zoom call helped or not, but we started talking, and the biggest thing I think that sold the deal for him to even like respond is that he and I share the same birthday. And so we're literally twins, like to the year. I've just doxed myself further, hooray. Anyway, so in the call even, he was like, well, how old do you think I look? I go, bro, we are the same birthday. I know exactly how old you are. Anyway, and so no, I didn't wear a mask on the call. So he's seen full bread cat, I guess. But I did mention that I typically wear a mask, so he's not foreign to that. But when you're talking to your twin, you probably should show your face, long lost brothers and all. And so yeah, after all that, it started off as like I'm just hiring him to do a song, but like now we text like every day. So that I don't mean that as like I know a famous singer. Like I know I'm fortunate enough to have like some friends that are very talented, but now Bradley has slowly become yet another one. But I still pay him for music because I think his talents should be committed for. But he did do the soon to be I don't know if anybody caught this, but there's like background music that he sent over to me. I put it in the media channel, but I jokingly said it was a 24-hour live stream. But if you want to hear like a sneak peek of like what's coming eventually, Bradley made that also for us, just like as a on the house thing. So it annoys my wife that it went from like dissing her by not doing a Valentine's Day song, and now I text like daily, and we're like laughing and whatnot. She not only does she love hearing about feesh and AI art every single day, she also really likes it when I ruin basically a band for her by becoming best friends with the lead singer. But anyway, yeah, that's long story short. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, not at all what I was expecting, but that's what I expected of you, so perfect.
I should have just said like, oh, we grew up together, but no, that's the whole story. Free concert tickets for her. We'll see. I did run sometimes, even though he's not on the feature chord, he's slowly become like a huge supporter of the project. Like as far as just like he loves hearing about stuff and like the events. And I think somebody said like we should do a concert, and then someone I think said it should be on a cruise ship. And so I did say that to him. He's got his own band that like they just dropped an album, so he's going to be touring. I even asked, I was like, how many feesh songs are you going to play on tour? And he's like, 16 of them. I go, whoa, even the B-sides? Anyway, sorry, that's probably a joke. But I don't know. If he's down, I guess we'll see how much it costs to charter a cruise ship and maybe I'll do a feesh cruise. I don't know.
Was he in Web3 or NFTs before you reached out as like some super random make my song guy?
Not so much NFTs, but I have talked to him since about like so the thing that Ticketmaster just like dropped about like token gating tickets and whatnot. Like I was like, bro, you could do so much with this kind of technology layer, because I think NFTs and music especially, like you could, if I wasn't doing feesh, I would probably do like a record label, like a Web3 label where you could do token gated tickets, token gated merch. You could do, and once you've got like the I like your band like access pass, then you could say like what buy the NFT or mint an NFT from like the city that you're in or the country that you're in, and then you could use that to get data of like where your fans are, and then you could make like specific merch for them for that like show and have them pre-order it. So there's like it's risk-free for the artists, and then for the fans they're getting like exclusive merch that they could just wear and not have to like worry about carting around like the night of an event. And I don't know, there's just tons of things that you could do where you could kind of change the game for sure. So he's very much interested in that, but he'd been more into crypto than NFTs. He now since like he jokingly told me like after I posted over the weekend like the AI stuff that I was doing, he said like my price has gone up. I'm like, oh god, what is it? He's like, same price, but also I get one of your NFTs every time. I was like, deal. So I think I've swayed him into NFTs through it. So
that's really neat. I think the Ticketmaster stuff is like unbelievable. That was cool to read.
Yeah, I every time. So my wife and I we do tons of concerts. It's just like instead of doing dinner and a movie, we end up going to concerts and whatnot. And she's been through a lot of chaos with dealing with Ticketmaster and like their botting issue and all kinds of other stuff. So if they do every time, I'm like NFTs could solve this. NFTs, and so now the fact that it's like it is happening is pretty interesting.
So we're already like music or movie producers. Can we expect that you'd want to explore? I feel like you do it right.
The record label thing, or
yeah, just maybe record label might be too ambitious, but something along those lines.
Yeah, I am open to things for sure. I mean, I joke that like Bradley and I are slow rolling a second album, basically with this. So, and you guys will have again if Ticket to Ride. So as things come out, it'll probably go to streaming and the NFTs. I think is like the best of both worlds because then, excuse me. I think when it's on streaming, it just makes it more approachable. And it's the same thing as far as the Web 2 kind of stuff that I'm going to be dropping soon, where it's like, you know, it's one thing for you guys to love feesh and be excited about it. It's another thing to be able to like, I'm excited for it, and just go to feeshes.com, and then you can get a tank, and like, and then they can enjoy it too. And I think it'll grow like way faster that way. And then once they see all the feesh, they'll be able to see all the different accessories, and they might say like, oh, I can buy, this bundle pack with cash, or if I'm custodialing things, like I can just go and buy this and I'll own it. And then if I don't like it anymore, I can sell it. Whereas like the Web 2, I just think it's going to be a good teaching tool. And the great thing is folks that have been in the Web 3 side, if you're missing an NFT and you're priced out from the secondary or whatever, and I'm not talking like castle makers or like the things, I'm not going to like screw with the rarity. But you might be able to grab extra stuff. And I'm toying around with, if you want to buy an extra feesh and you say you have 10 feesh, but you want more, but you don't care about the airdrops, maybe you can just pay the smaller fee to have like a Web 2 feesh that you don't own, but you kind of have like the blend, but they're all swimming in the same tank together. So I just think it'll give a lot of freedom. And my hope is that it'll onboard more folks. So it's similar with the music. By putting it on streaming, even though like you guys own the NFTs, the streaming will open doors for more folks to find it. And believe it or not, for Glow, I paid like an extra fee to get it like put into rotation. And so there's probably somewhere in a coffee shop right now someone listening to Glow without knowing it and slowly being pulled over to Feesh. So you're welcome.
That's amazing. I'm really excited about the Web 2 stuff. Like I have a tank live in my office. Like I have a live tank, like an actual fish tank, and then I have a feesh tank that I usually.
I think you've shown it off on Twitter. I love.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do have the octopus, but that he's kind of shitty because he doesn't even play music. But
fair.
Fair. I do have like just a fish tank off and going just off my off the laptop screen, and most of my staff has seen it, and I've explained what it is, and then they look at me like I'm weird, which I am. But it would be cool to be able to, maybe not onboard is the right word, but expose them to some of the neat things that is possible with the tank creation. Because I have one very, very creative coordinator that I know she really enjoys it. I've just not been able, she's just not made a leap, nor have I pressured her into creating a wallet and doing all those other things. But I think the no risk piece is really interesting to be able to onboard and expose. So I'm excited. Do you have a rough timeline on that? I don't know when you did that, but
yeah, no worries. So I think while the event's going, my next big focus, I'm pushing along on the games, but I think Web 2 needs to come first. And so that is my next big push is the UI update and when I say Web 2 update, it's going to be an update across the board, but it'll allow everyone here, if they choose to. And again, I know some people are purist and fuck Web 2, I'm not giving you my email. I understand. But the option is there, should you change your mind, to make a username and password, and then you can connect your wallet to it, and then you can just log in without needing MetaMask and modify your tanks. So I think it's a feature that is, you can still have all the ownership and everything with Web3, but for just the cost of an email address, you'll be able to also log in and not need a Web3 browser. You could just log in from Chrome or Firefox or whatever you want, log in from your mobile, and have the ungated experience of needing a Web3 component. Unless you want to buy, sell, trade, whatever, then of course you would need the wallet side. So I hope that makes it easier. But then also the flip side, as you said, it lowers that barrier of entry. So if you're at work or anybody's at work or whatever, and you're like, look at my fish tank, and everyone's like, cool. It used to be, oh, you want a fish? Just install Coinbase or install whatever to buy crypto, and then get a own wallet and write down your seed phase. Don't email it to yourself. There's just 24 steps to get, and I've tried to make Feesh easy to mint, but still there's that friction of onboarding. And I'm honored still to this day that Feeshes is some folks first. I'm the reason why they have a wallet. I don't mean that from a cocky thing, but I mean the Feeshes and having the fun of Feesh is the reason why they took the plunge. And so being able to lower that barrier and say oh, you like Feesh or you like this, just go to feeshes.com and then just give your email and password and then make a tank. And you can have one tank, one Feesh. And then of course they can, with fiat, pay for more Feesh or buy a mega or whatever the case may be, or airdrops and deck out their tank. But they also then can see oh, I can pay XYZ for all of these accessories that I want. Or if accessories are still going to come, if I buy even just one of these Web3 Feesh, it's all connected and managed for me. But now I also get the airdrops for free and the event pass for free. Or if they want to do, because what's going to happen is so this event that we're dropping, this will probably be the last like purely Web3. And again, I just want to be clear, like Web3 is the tip of the spear. It's the thing that's going to lead things. It's the thing that I'm pushing like innovation and whatnot. But I just want to make it more approachable for others. So if somebody was a Web2 user, oh, Pesky is here. If someone was a Web2 user and they wanted to do the science event that we're doing right now, they would have to buy like a pass, if you will, to get that. And so, and then that money will go, one, to sustaining me, hooray, so that I'm able to continue to put effort into Feeshes. But also, if it gets over a certain amount, then that fund will go back into ways to reward Feesh holders and other things too. So like, it's not cash grab city or whatever, but just how can I make it easier for the IP to kind of grow? How can I make it easier for people to jump in? And then I think they'll start to see like, it's almost like when you jump into the pool, you realize like you get used to the water. It's easier now to swim around versus like feeling you have to dive in and what if the water's cold or whatever. It's just removing that friction so that we can have the IP continue to grow, but also have. I just think it's the more the merrier for all these events and stuff too. So.
You said something really interested with pay with fiat. Is that something that they would be purchasing an NFT with fiat? Or is that, and I'm sorry, maybe I missed, like, was that the Web 2 side of it, or was that the Web 3 side of it? Maybe I missed that.
Yeah, good. So I think there's a couple of good questions in there, so I'll try and tease out everything. And so yes, the event does there'll be a second badge, and with the UI update, the badges will be on full display. So you'll be able to see anybody that participated in the Valentine's Day, anybody that participates in this one, that they will get those badges. 1 second. Sorry. So then Web 2, Web 3. So Web 2 will have the ability to jump in and just like make a tank for free and have a feesh for free. They will not own it. It'll be a random feesh that they basically are kind of like getting access to that looks like another feesh that exists as an NFT, but they don't own it. It's locked within their account, and they have to kind of do some steps to get it too. That'll kind of like help them bond with their feesh and feel a little connected to it. And then from there, there'll be like a store, and the store will allow them to. So they've got one feesh for free, but what if they want, 6 feesh? They can pay a flat fiat rate for 6 feesh. Again, they will be Web 2. They're not Web 3, and they can just do that. The flip side is that store will also have the ability for them to buy like and this is eventually because I'm going to be. I'm looking into Wire, but Wire keeps right now. There's like this crypto squeeze, and so a lot of this is based on like the infrastructure working how it is. But Wire, for example, has the ability to mint paying fiat from a smart contract that already is deployed, and so they would basically pay fiat to Wire through a service that's like integrated through by me via code and whatnot. And so they would just click like add to cart, click buy. And when they click buy, it's going to estimate what the gas price is, what the price of the feesh in ETH that right then and there. They buy it. I get the ETH from like what would be minting. It pays the gas, and then they get the feesh sent to whatever wallet they want. And then with that, I think there'll be 2 routes. One will be if they know what they're doing, they'll be able to mint with fiat straight to their wallet, and just maybe they don't have the ETH, but they have a wallet and everything, so that's one thing. The other one will be a custodian way, where they're minting it to a wallet that is like just a bucket of feesh, but through Web 2 stuff, I'm assigning this user's email, owns feesh number, blah, 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 and should they ever connect a wallet, they'll have the ability to transfer that feesh just by paying gas to themselves. So it's kind of like Web 2.5, Web 3 Lite, like whatever you want to call it. But they'll have the option to do all of that together. It will come out in phases though. So the first thing will be just completely Web 2, plus like the ability to mint if they wanted to go with ETH. And then as Wire or whoever the vendor that I choose that offers similar-ish services, then I'll roll that out too. And then that'll come in 2 flavors. One's like, you know what you're doing? All right, mint to your own wallet. I don't want to talk about wallets. Okay, cool. I'll custodian it for you. And then it'll be a Web 3 feesh. When the airdrops come out, it'll just get dropped to that custodian wallet. They'll be assigned to them. And so should they ever want to part ways and go full Web 3, they can export all the accessories and the feesh themselves to whatever wallet they choose.
That is pretty exciting. I think that just the onboarding phase of it, because it's hard to explain it to normies. It truly is. So I love that, and I think my son minted feesh. That was the first thing that he ever minted.
That's awesome.
He'd been given a bunch of stuff, but I mean, like, he actually got to click mint and stuff, and got that kind of thrill. And like, I just feel safe with him, kind of in your project. But I would feel safe with many of my colleagues and peers and such, and doing the same fashion. So I'm happy that you're going to be able to kind of create that easy onboard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super honored to. I don't think that's the first time you've told me, but I'm super honored to, whether it's a son, like, where there was an easy end, like, you don't have to twist his arm too much, but like anybody that's told anybody about the project, like, I'm super honored. One, that you guys are here, and two, that you're talking about it. I think that the Web 2 stuff will make it just that much easier for you to go, I love this. You can try it too, risk free. And again, it's not like a try it free and then hopefully get them hooked. Like, hey, if that's what happens, that's great. But like, I just think it is a little bit cumbersome to join into the fun right now. And so doing Web 3, it's just give up an email, which they're already used to doing for Web 2 stuff anyway. But I think it'll slow roll them into at least getting educated as to like, what are NFTs and they'll be, as this goes. I don't want it to be like, now that you're here, Web 3 in your face. Like, I want it to be almost as invisible as possible, but have ways that they can like self-educate and say like, for example, like when an event drops, like everybody that owns a Feesh NFT, you're free. But if you want to jump into the whatever the next event that I'm not going to leak right now is, then it's blah dollars, and then they're like, wait, someone's getting it for free? What? And then they'll click a learn more button and kind of start to learn how everything works for that. And by then they've already got a tank, they're already enjoying it, so it'll make more sense. Like they understand the value versus, hey, do you want this thing? And it's just like, it's 18 steps to get in, and they don't see the value right away.
Yeah, the learn more aspect I think is really exciting. Like, my brother's a high school teacher. He's been wondering how it is that he'll be able to kind of integrate this realm that we're in right now into his students, and sometimes they're teaching him, which is kind of cool. But if there was a learn more button that he would be able to put on his tank in a classroom or something, I'm sure he would be very keen on doing that.
Yeah, I mean, let me know. Like, so these are my ideas, but I'm open to whatever. And I think some other folks had said, I think at one point it was like a whole classroom of kids that were going to get tanks and whatnot. And so happy to, if that is a thing, or there's a way for me to make it easier. I'm less about Feesh winning and more about people understanding the technology. And so definitely if there's something I can do, let me know to make that an easier standpoint, whether it's, slow roll a library with terms and all that stuff, or record videos, like happy to do all of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think just the, quote unquote free onboarding of the Web 2 aspect will be really interesting. That maybe he puts just a kiosk or something up that kids will be able to learn from. And I don't know if there's anyone better from the space to learn from than you. So that's appreciated.
Aw, thanks. Cool. We are technically.
I want peach tears.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'll shut up. Go.
No, so we're 5 minutes over. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I hope that you have a lot of fun with this event. I'm sure that there'll be more questions. I do have to go eat and put food in my stomach, but if anyone else has questions, please leave them around. We'll have another swim up for sure during this event, and so who knows what we'll be talking about next week. But yeah, I'm excited to get these airdrops out, wrapped up and sent out to you. And then haunted, anything haunted, I'm totally down for. If it's haunted trolls, I'm even more down. So biscuits, you let me know. And yeah, just again, I'm super grateful. I know that year 2 was at one point something that was like, if we did XYZ, I'm now honored that I get the luxury of doing a year 2 with you guys. And yeah, if I can ever do anything to help out, or make things more enjoyable or easier, or if there's anything that is not working quite right with this event, just let me know and I'll jump on it. All right, let's go unglow some feesh. I'll see you guys around. Bye.